Hey guys, welcome to Thinking Out Loud. It's a little bit different. This is my second take because I realized 3/4 of the way through my last take, my mic wasn't on. So now let's get through this. My room, this room, the podcast room is about 90 degrees at least. It's 90 degrees outside with 75% humidity. It is a very, very hot day in Randolph today. You may know that I am solo here. My partner, Jay, has decided that this subject isn't a subject that he knows a lot about. So he didn't feel like he could add anything into this. So he's not here. And Brendan thought that this was too heavy of a subject, so he is not wanting to do this. All right, I'm going to get right into this. We are going to talk mental health. And in lieu of the second Dartmouth College student that was pulled out of the river in the last month and a half due to apparent suicide, we need to talk about mental health. This is something that's weighed really, really heavy on my mind for a very long time. I have been in therapy for 27 years. It started with I totally lost my train of thought. With postpartum depression with my second child. I knew something wasn't right. I didn't feel myself. And by the time that I was in bed every day, and I had two kids under 15 months, they're 15 months apart. My pediatrician told me that he thought that I should do this, or she thought that I should do this, to go to therapy. Nobody I knew was in therapy. Nobody I knew ever talked about therapy. I'd never heard good things about therapy. It was just kind of taboo back in the 90s. It really wasn't something that was talked about. So I ventured over and I went, and I've been ever since. Some days I talk about really heavy stuff. Sometimes I talk about light and funny stuff. But as a rape survivor and a lot of other things, I am pushing through and will pull through. My official diagnosis is our PTSD, major depressive disorder, anxiety, and I think that's it. But that's enough. I'm not really one that likes to have labels, but when you're labeled, you're labeled. So today's episode of Thinking Aloud is going to be a mental health episode. And I want you to know that you can call 211 and get any and all of the community health agencies that are around where you are at to get in to see a therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I'm going to talk about a few of the ones that are here in Orange County or surrounding areas that I have been to or I have had actions with, or I know that are good facilities, et cetera, et cetera. So being in Randolph, Vermont, the biggest one that steps out is, or stands out is Clara Martin Center. Clara Martin Center is at 11 North Main in Randolph, and their phone number is 802-728-4466, and you want to push 0 so you can get to the operator. That number again is 802-728-4466, and then you want to hit 0. They also have a mobile crisis community mental health number, which is 800-639-6360, or you can go to their website at www.claramartin.org. There's also in Barre, there's Washington County Mental Health. Their phone number is 802-479-2502. And their crisis line is 802-229-0091. Now, don't worry if you didn't catch the number right then and there. I am going to do a separate post with all my information, the address, and the phone numbers. There also is a very important suicide hotline, and this doesn't get talked about a lot. I've used this number in the past. It's 988. You can call it or text it, or you can go on their website for suicide prevention. It's very confidential. I'm sorry, Flea is downstairs in his box and he's not happy. It's very confidential. They don't call you back. They don't leave you messages. They don't call you back if you hang up. So it is on you to call back if the call gets disconnected. They're very nice individuals, seem to be very knowledgeable, which has been really good. So the two important numbers, 211 or 988. 211 is to get any and all mental health organizations, places to stay, et cetera, or the suicide hotline, which is 988. Those are all places where you can get mental health services such as therapy, med therapy, group therapy, addiction therapy. All those places do those things. All of those places do not have individual beds or can take you in if you're having a mental health crisis. They will tell you here in Randolph, if you call their crisis number, if you call Claire Martin's crisis number, the 800-639-6360, if they deem you having a medical emergency or a mental health emergency, they will tell you to go to Gifford Medical Center. And I believe the Gifford's Medical Center's number is 802-728-7000. And they will direct you to the emergency department. You will have to come get an intake, and then you will be directed as to what they're going to do, if they're going to find a place for you to go and do therapy and some med checks and some intensive therapy for up to a week. They will take you right from the hospital to there. Gifford does have a couple of beds, so they may be able to keep you there and do it in-house. There's a lot of, beg your pardon for my language, shit going on with mental health. And people do need to utilize their services. So you want to make sure you're doing the right thing. Now, the following 4 places I'm going to name next are places that you can go for like a little retreat. You can have a little time to yourself. They don't necessarily have medical staff there or give meds out or change meds. It's just a place to go to have a little bit of a break from either an abusive relationship or mental health break, addiction break, whatever it is. So first of all, there's Alyssum, which is in Rochester. Hold on one second, I gotta take a drink. Alyssum Inc., which is in Rochester, and their number is 802-767-6000. And from what I've read about them, they have a couple of beds. It's in a country setting, and it's just a pretty place to kind of go and chill out and have some time. They do not offer meds there. They don't do med evaluations. You have to bring your own meds and deal with it there. But they do have people that you can talk to and have conversations with and help heal your mind. So there's also Safe Haven, or Chris's place, which is at 4 Highland Avenue in Randolph. And their number to get to them is 802-728-4466, extension 359. And from what I've been told, it's for co-occurring. So you have a mental health issue and a drug issue for Safe Haven, I think, if I'm thinking the place, same place. Chris's place is if you need a break for a night, if you have a domestic violence issue, mental health issue. Again, this place does not do meds. It's just a safe place to go. There's the Bradford Farmhouse in Bradford, Vermont, and that's 888-300-8051. And from what I've read about them, Simply the same thing about Alyssum, as they have not a lot of beds, and same country setting and a place to go where you can just kind of chill and get your thoughts together and maybe go back or find a place to go from there that you need more therapy at, or to get away from an abusive situation. This was something that somebody gave me. I don't even know where it is. It's called Second Spring South, and their phone number is 855-226-0697. And I'm not exactly sure what that place is. They didn't tell me. But I think that we have to normalize talking about mental health. What works for you may not work for me, and what works for me may not work for you. I think it's really important that if a doctor says you need to be put on antidepressants, that you get your butt to be on antidepressants. Don't think too much into it. Just do it. I've been on antidepressants for a very long time. Sometimes you have to tweak them because they're not working. Sometimes you get tired of taking medication. I understand that. But if you can take a pill to help you for the rest of your life, take that pill. Take that pill so you know that you're going to be okay and you're going to be able to get through the day. What's gone on in my life might not have gone on in your life, and you may have, or it may have gone on in your life, and you're able to handle it much differently than I am. I'm not able to handle things like that. I have a lot of social anxiety, a lot of peer anxiety, and a lot of partner anxiety. If you can imagine being raped and trying to figure out if you're going to be okay or not, and if you're going to trust anybody or not, there are things now that you can do. There are things now that you can say. There are places that you can go. When this happened, I didn't know which way was up, to be very honest. And I bit the bullet and took the antidepressant route. I'm glad that I did, because I don't think I would have gotten through half of my life if I hadn't. I think it's super important that we normalize that taking medication is an okay thing. It's hard. It's a double-edged sword, right? We don't want to be addicted. We don't want to be dependent. But there are medications that you don't become addicted to or dependent to. And if that's an issue, you tell your doctor right from the bat. Tell them that you don't want to take certain medications, or you don't want to be addicted, or you don't want to be dependent on something. Claire Martin does have a psychiatrist, and he is very good, and he is willing, ready, and able to help you with your issues as long as you are honest. Don't lie to your therapist. Don't lie to your psychologist or your psychiatrist. Don't lie to them. They see through that shit real easy. And realize that there's this help out there. 211 will get you right in with anybody. They'll tell you if they have availability. I'm just telling you that these are the big agencies, but I'm not talking to you about like Marge Crow, and there's a couple other around this, what's her name? Oh gosh. Sue Jacobs. There's a few more around this area that do private practice. Some of them take insurance and some of them don't. Most of them take Medicaid, so that you know that you can get it. Most of them take private insurances. Some of them only take private insurances but have a sliding fee scale. There is no reason on earth that you shouldn't be in therapy if you need it. So please know, 211, you can get the numbers that you need. And always remember and let people know that are struggling or you think are suicidal that 988 is a number. You also can call 988 and say that you know somebody that is suicidal and what should you do, or how should you go about it, or whatever. You can call them as well. Remember, most of these agencies have a after hours number, and they're quick to answer the phone. Also know that you can call 911 and talk to a professional on the other end of the line and say, I'm having a mental health crisis. I need to be picked up. I'm having a mental health crisis and I need somebody. Those few words can get you far. And if you have to take a 2, 3, 7-day break, work will be there. Your family will be there. Your friends will be there. And maybe they'll understand a little bit more about what's been going on with you if you take that step to do those things. I've been inpatient before at Central Vermont Hospital. It was the best experience of my life. It was 11 days and my kids were little and I didn't know what to do. I had a really hard time getting out of my room. But once I did, and I started doing the groups, and I started doing the activities, and I started doing the routine, it's like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I can do this. I'm going to be okay. This is something I've got. And by the end of the time, I was like, okay, I got this. My head is clear. My mind is clear. I can go back to my babies and I can be like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Don't be afraid to do this for yourself. And if you have to do it again and again and again, over and over and over, every few months, every couple of years, do it. Because ultimately, you're saving yourself and you're making yourself be a better person so that you can cope with your life, your friends, your family, your kids, your parents, your pets, society. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be scared or upset or sad or mad, disappointed. It's okay to be any of those things. It's not okay not to ask for help. 1 minute, I let the cat in. Come on. I want you to know that you have somebody that loves you, that cares about you, that believes in you, has faith in you, and wants to be with you and around you. We all have that. Sometimes we have to look a little bit harder than others, but we all have that. And I also want you to know that you have me. If I can be there for you, I'll be there for you. Please know that you can message me on our Thinking Out Loud email or on our Facebook page where this is going to be posted. I'm also going to write up a little thing that tells you the resources that I've mentioned in this video, as well as the places to stay that I've mentioned in this video. And I want you to know that just because Jay isn't here or Brendan isn't here doesn't mean it was a cop-out on either of their points. They really don't understand the way that I understand. So again, if you need me, message me on either my Facebook or our email. What do you have? My cat just jumped up here, sorry. But I also want you to know that please don't ever feel alone. Don't ever feel like you can't do something. Don't ever feel like your mental health is unobtainable, or just because one medicine doesn't work doesn't mean another one won't work. Doesn't mean that if you've gone up all you can go up on and that isn't working, to try another one and it's okay. You're not a failure. That medication just didn't work with your body. Be patient, be reasonable, and talk to your therapist. If you don't want to buy into therapy, talk to your friends, your mother, your brother, your sister, your friends, your dog. Talk to somebody. Talk to something. Get out in nature and take a walk. Be one with yourself. And be honest with yourself. Be honest that this is what you need and this is what you want out of the relationship that you have with your therapist. What do you want to work on? What do you don't want to work on? Are there things that you feel like you've gotten over and you don't need to discuss them anymore? Tell them that. If nothing more, you know that once a week, once a month, once every other month that you talk to your therapist, that's your day. They're not going to be critical. They're not going to be stern and yell at you. They're going to be understanding and giving you the props and praise that you need to go through for another week, month, whatever. The good ones. Good ones. I've had the same therapist for a very lot of years, and I love her to death. And she'll call me out. And I like that. Like, I like being held accountable. She's like, well, maybe you just overthought that a little bit. Or maybe you overreached a little bit. She never says it in a negative way, though. She never yells at me. And she's always there for me. I can call or email her anytime. All right, guys. Take a deep breath. And process this day like you would any other day. Remember to breathe. And I'm not talking about normal breaths that you already take. I'm talking about stopping in that minute, in that moment, and taking a deep breath. Let's do it again. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And on that exhale, let's just blow out all the bullshit. You're taking in that energy and you're blowing out all the negative energy. Let's do it again. Taking in all that positive, letting out all the negative. All right, guys, don't forget that you can message me on Facebook Messenger or our email, and I'll have that all in the blurb that I'm going to post and after I post this. All right, guys, thank you for stopping by, and I hope that you guys watch the whole video and will take into consideration that this is super important, and those Dartmouth students, let's hold their families in our hearts and our prayers, and congratulate Dartmouth College for doing something about it, having some suicide prevention and a suicide line and some therapists to be able to talk to these students that are now mourning the death of 2 students, friends and colleagues. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.